because you're not listening, or is my audio soft?
It's me.
Okay.
It's my brain. My brain is loud.
Is that how we start this episode? I'm working late because I'm a server.
I'm a waitress. So, Lex, have you ever worked in a restaurant before?
You already know. You already know. And I know you have too. And you know what? Sometimes I miss those days.
I know there's so many things I do miss, but there's so many things that I don't miss.
There's so many more things that I do not miss. Yes, exactly.
Where have you worked in the restaurant industry before? What restaurants or what kind?
So I know you have a little bit more of a glamorous history, but I personally worked in a lot of different more sports bars, like casual settings. I worked at Buffalo Wild Wings throughout most of college, a few local places in my college town. And then my most recent job was at Barrel House in Dubuque. I actually bartended there.
Oh my gosh, I completely forget about that part of your life. Every time you bring it up, I'm like shocked again. I feel like...
Yeah, it was unexpected because I picked it up just to do off season when I was shooting weddings. And then I ended up kind of getting sucked in and doing it for way longer than I intended to, honestly. But I think that happens, right?
Yes, that's like one of the things. Like, it's so hard to leave.
Yeah,
so hard to leave because, for multiple reasons, which we can get to later. But my experience.
But what about you?
My experience in the restaurant industry is I pretty much grew up behind the scenes in restaurants because my mom ran restaurants since I can really remember. And so we would always hang out in booths and just hang out and get food. We would hang out in the back in the kitchen. And we were always just going in and out back doors of restaurants. And then so naturally when I could start serving, I served tables at a few restaurants. So I've worked at Red Robin. So I've done like the chain, like kiddie kind of restaurant too. That was like, I remember in college, I had like a descriptive writing project and I wrote about the horrors of Red Robin, and she thought it was like the best paper ever and read it out loud.
Well,
so
when you're at a chain restaurant, you don't realize how chained up you are at a chain restaurant until you work for a local establishment where it's like so much low key. You really there's not as many rules. You get like a beverage when you get off of work, like a free one.
Or during.
Anyways. Yeah, or during, exactly. So
and then I went to like a more local restaurant group. So I worked for an Italian restaurant and then a steakhouse in town. And I learned so much more there because, like you said, you kind of got to be more hands-on and kind of do a little bit of everything, and so much better. So I learned a lot more, and then also had, like you said, like the customers expected more because it was a much, much higher price point. Actually, I wouldn't even say they expected more, to be honest. I feel like the people at Red Robin, the customers at Red Robin, were way worse and had way higher expectations than
people who were like, you want to know what was really bad?
A nice dinner.
Talk about the worst of both worlds. I worked at Olive Garden very briefly.
You did?
Yeah, when I first got up to college, and they kept scheduling me when I had classes, and I eventually just quit because I could not handle it. It was just so dysfunctional. And it's like, but
dude, we're slinging soup, salad, and breadsticks. Like, can we not take this so seriously?
It was, and there was like 3 table max for each section. And the people there, they acted like they were going out to eat at this 5-star restaurant. And I'm like, you're at a chain.
When you're there, you're family.
Yeah, no. And the environment was toxic. The servers were so mean to each other. They would be screaming in the back. Have you ever seen the episode of Broad City where they go out for Abby's birthday at the expensive restaurant?
Oh, when
and
Lonnie
the cook and the server are fighting. That's what it was like back there.
It's Amy Poehler is the cook in the back. So we'll talk about that in a little bit, but we do have a guest today, and her name's Michelle McDonald, so she'll be joining us here shortly.
Oh, you're just gonna act like you don't know her at all?
Hey, I'm getting there. I don't want to screw up her credibility immediately.
Okay,
She
go on.
is currently a wine rep, and she's worked in the restaurant industry for 30 years, and she also happens to be my mother. So we're going to talk about working in the service and restaurant industry with her, our experiences, the things we love, the things we hate, and definitely our least favorite customers.
Yeah, so let's go. Before your mommy joins us, why are you mad this week, Maddie?
Okay, so I am mad this week because a couple days ago we were editing the podcast, and so it was we switch every other week who's editing. So it was my turn, and it was the episode with your niece JC on it, and you went in and had edited her part, and you said you actually referenced a book, and for the first time in my life you referenced a book, and I was not able to understand the reference because I'd never read the book. And so she said, oh, I'm going to edit this part of JC because.
So what happened was I told Maddie, hey, I went in and just edited JC's part. And she joked with me like, what the fuck, don't touch my shit, bitch. Like, this is my episode. But if you've read Mice and Men, it's like, you got to shoot your own dog.
So, yeah, what are you mad about? Other than me not understanding the reference.
Oh, well, this isn't really it, but Maddie and I got our first hater on the Wait You're Mad Instagram page.
It was awesome.
It was not a hater at all. Actually, I believe we posted a reel about our Halloween episode, and Maddie was talking about Beggars Night in Des Moines, where instead of trick-or-treating, the kids have to tell a joke to get candy. And someone simply commented, no, that's not true, or something like that. I sent it to Maddie and was like, we got our first hater. It's happening. We're making it. Anyways, my real mad for this week. Remember last week when I talked about that perfume that I bought on a whim because someone influenced me and I've never smelt it in my life? Yes. I didn't get it. That's the problem. I've been anticipating it. I've been tracking it every day, and it was supposed to come on Monday. And I tracked it like every hour. It's like out for delivery, out for delivery. And then 1 hour when I checked it, it said returned, insufficient address.
Gosh, I can't wait. It's going to be next week's mad and you're not going to like it or something, I feel like. But, well.
Stay tuned, everyone.
Or you're going to be mad that you didn't get it sooner. We'll see.
Or it's going to get returned somehow. Again.
Yes.
I'm never going to get it.
Okay. I'm going to go set up my mom. I'm just going to add her to this room, so I'll be right back.
Okay.
So what are you girls whining about now? What are we mad about this week?
Oh, there she is. There
Live
she
from
is.
Des Moines.
Yes.
Michelle.
She's actually like 10 feet away from me, but
yeah,
it's kind of funny. It's kind of funny to see. You can tell she's sitting in my regular spot that I usually sit in.
Exactly where Maddie usually is. And to no surprise to any of our listeners, we are having audio problems. So
as always.
But we're just gonna go with it. We're gonna figure this out, as always.
It'll be fun, they said.
So, okay. Mom, Michelle, tell us a little bit about your experience in the restaurant industry and what you're currently doing in the wine business.
Okay, well, obviously, I mean, you've known I've been in the business probably as long as you can remember, and probably as long as Lexie can remember. But legit, I've been in operations, general manager, a professional, a little higher up on the food chain, probably for the last 30 years. But yeah, I've worked all over the United States, primarily based in Washington, D.C., and then Chicago for the last 25 years. But I was kind of traveling all over, so I worked pretty much a lot of major cities in the U.S., everything from New York to Florida to Detroit to St. Louis. If there was a crappy location they could send me, I've been there. I'm also a wine rep for the Boss A collection. So I represent 30 different wineries, 20 roughly in Napa, Sonoma, and then I've got 10, 11 of them in France. And by the way, shameless plug, we're drinking my Sauv Blanc tonight from Raymond Vineyards that I just got out at wine camp in Napa 2 weeks ago. It's our 50th anniversary, but it's a really nice Sauvignon Blanc. Would you agree, Maddie?
It is. I can tell that there's like absolutely no oak in this. Am I correct in that?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. But yeah, I'm really enjoying doing that. I'm doing everything from client appreciation events to tasting for fundraisers and to shamelessly selling to my friends and family and anyone else who wants to buy good wine from me.
Yeah, when we were in Chicago, when Maddie and I were in Chicago for that concert back in August, Maddie's mom met up with us for a little bit and she brought us some bubbly to drink. And I don't know a lot about wine, but that was some superior bubbly we were sipping on.
Oh, I think that was that John Legend one. Because John Legend is one of the wineries I represent too. But it's
nice.
like really cute little bubbles. They're really cute. Yeah, absolutely. So I'm glad you like that.
Yeah, in our luxurious hotel drinking glasses that we had to use at the time.
I hate that. I hate not drinking wine. This is so snobbish, but I hate not drinking wine out of an actual glass. It's terrible.
Okay, guys, here it is. Maddie is a very low-key person until it comes to wine. And then you'll see her pinky go up in the air, and I love it. It's just her thing.
And yet her mother will drink it out of a coffee cup if there's nothing else available. I feel like that's very European. I think that's very European. You know, you go to Italy and they'll serve it in a coffee cup. They'll serve whatever they have.
Yeah, what is it? Wine is a grocery, not a luxury over there.
Exactly.
But isn't there something to the glass? It's supposed to affect the taste somehow. What is that?
If it's a good wine, it deserves a good glass, honestly.
Yes. Well, obviously Maddie has known Michelle her whole life. I think I didn't know Michelle until when did you get your braces off? It was around that time. We went for your birthday.
I think it was like right before my 16th birthday, like a couple days before.
I wrote down 16th birthday and that was just a guess. But we went to
remember that. You're wild.
I know, it's just my memory. We went to stay with Michelle in Chicago, and it was my first melting pot experience.
Oh my God, you were the first melting.
Do you remember?
I totally forgot about that. Why didn't
Maddie demanded melting pot for her birthday dinner.
Yeah.
And if you guys don't know what melting pot is, it's a fondue restaurant. So it's a pot in the middle of the table, and you can choose cheese or dessert.
Or oil base to like cook your meats and potatoes. I'm still like obsessed with it just because of that one time I went with you. I think I went one other time besides that, but I think about it.
And Coco Bond, if you want to be bougie, there's Coco Bond.
Yeah, but they come to your table and they mix everything together. And Maddie had told me that her mom was in the restaurant business, but I didn't believe it until every time the waiter turned his back, Michelle would reach and grab a handful of cheese and throw it in the pot when he wasn't looking.
And you're like, oh, this isn't a big deal. It's not a big deal.
Like, Mom, and she goes, what? It's just going to add to the flavor.
It's like, we can do better. We can do better. Okay.
I loved it.
Also, when we would go to Chicago, we would actually go. So you ran a restaurant in Woodfield Mall in Schaumburg, Illinois. So people who
stir crazy.
Yes, that's where that was. Stir Crazy in Schaumburg.
Yeah.
I remember.
And that's where Lexie and I we'd roam the mall. We'd go to work with you in the morning. We would hang out at the restaurant, roll all the server silverware, and they would tip us like $20 to $25 a piece to do their side work. And then we would just go out to the mall and spend it immediately.
I know we're talking about the serving industry, but I kind of want to bring up that gas station.
Oh my God. Gas station or the hot dogs up on North Avenue?
I think that was the same. That might have been the same visit.
Yeah, my God, you guys were walking
we were
up
on
North
a roll.
Avenue.
I should say Maddie was on a roll. She was just going through her.
I was very confident and independent, and I didn't feel like I needed adult supervision.
Yeah,
And you
and
walked
I
by,
had
you
never
had
been to Chicago, so I was just like following her, yet terrified the entire time.
So my mom and I had gotten into an argument because we were both very strong-willed people. So we ran away. But we were just walking down the street and like, let's go somewhere. And I know where we're going. And so I took us down North Ave on 64 or 64th, right?
yeah.
And yeah, you can now
I
tell the rest of the
remember
story.
I remember Maddie's mom called at one point and we were passing this sketchy apartment. I was like, Maddie, answer the phone. And Maddie answers the phone and I cannot hear Michelle, but I hear Maddie go, yeah, we're at the corner of this and this. And then I hear a pause and then I hear Maddie go, well, don't tell Lexie that. And here, Michelle told her that someone got murdered at that place a few
They
weeks
did.
prior.
And it was like one of those shady hotels where like the hookers hang out. And I'm just like,
It was
you're
terrible.
walking by the Brer Rabbit. Oh my God, you're going to die.
It was terrible. And so we end up at a gas station and we walk into the gas station and the clerk is just so friendly and talking to Maddie. And Maddie just mentions that she's here visiting her mom. And we're like getting slushies, just chilling. All of a sudden, Michelle comes stomping through the door. And weird, Michelle has all the connections in the world. The clerk knew who she was and called her and told her her daughter and her friend had just walked into the gas station.
Fucking rat.
You know, that's because of the Italian husband in Chicago, you know. I'm kidding.
Oh, yes. But I'll never forget the words you said on that car ride home, Michelle. You were chewing into Maddie, rightfully so, and I can't recall. It was something along the lines of her acting like a spoiled brat, which we were being awful. And then you turned to me and you're like, and Lexie, you seem nice, but if you're hanging out with my daughter, I don't really know.
Like, okay, you seem like, what's wrong with you?
Yeah, you're like, you seem like a really nice girl, but what are you doing hanging out with my daughter then? Jeez.
Well, my mom was telling me a story yesterday about how when she met your mom to pick you up when she was taking us to Chicago, what she said.
Oh, so remember that. That was my first meeting with your mother, Sandy, back in the day. And I'm just like, oh, and your mom's like, oh, thank you so much for bringing Lexie to Chicago. And you're like, you know, letting her stay with you guys. I said, well, Lexie's always lovely. She's so well behaved and such a nice young lady. And your mom said, are we talking about the same girl? And
Sandy.
I said, and she mentioned, she goes, well, Maddie's always been the good influence on her. And I said, are we talking about the same girl?
We both should have been in theater. We talk about it all the time.
Oh my God.
We couldn't really just be ourselves when we were with you, and we were taught to act polite to others. So
No, I was polite around your mom, okay? I feel like
that's what
you're
I mean.
just
And I was polite in front of yours.
Yeah.
So, like we were polite
Yeah.
to other people's parents.
We'll send it.
Oh.
We'll save it for a different episode, but we had my mom spiraling several times, okay?
So obviously we've all worked in the restaurant industry for a reason, and we all know that there are some great things about working in the restaurant industry and a lot of struggles that are unique to the restaurant industry. Let's start off with talking about what we love about restaurants and the business. Mom, you've been in the business for 30 years, so there's something you love about it.
First and foremost, the amazing people that I have met throughout the years, mentoring, training, and seeing them 20 years later and said, I was a part of that. And the customers as well. Just the people. People, number one.
Yeah, you have to be a people person to work in the restaurant industry, or you better just do
People!
CFO.
That's like the part I miss, I think, is the social aspect. I remember dreading going into a shift, and then once I got there and started talking to my tables, it flew by so fast. And that's the thing I miss about it the most. It's just you're just talking the whole time, and that's what I'm good at. So
may I add to that just a little bit? Your customers and your employees and your coworkers become family. They truly become a huge, huge piece of your life. If you work 40 hours in a job a week, let's say you work 40 hours, 8 hours a day, you're spending a third of your life with these people, and they are truly friends and family. So
Well,
they're huge.
especially in the restaurant industry, a lot of places you're working holidays, you're working late nights, you're working weekends. So not only are you missing out on events with your family, you're spending time with these people instead. So
Oh
that
yeah,
makes
I had
so
that
much
as a
sense.
struggle. I had that as a
Absolutely.
struggle. Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I
And
agree. I mean, it's definitely a passion industry. So you're not in it for, you know, reliable, normal hours. You're in it because you love the business and you love people and you probably love food and beverage. So that's my
or
favorite part is like just
yeah,
being in the mix of the socialization and you're at a party every night essentially, even if you're not attending, you're working it, but you're still like in it.
And
yeah.
you're also validating. People are coming to you for happy events. They're coming out to your restaurant to celebrate a birthday or a baptism or something. So you are basically there, an instrument to validate something special in their life. So they're 90% of the time they are there because they're celebrating something or they just want a meal out. They're there for a good reason.
Mhm.
And you're just there to validate that. You're an instrument of validating that.
hmm I love celebrating, so that is a huge component for me. Maddie mentioned like you're you're there for the passion, and one of my things I loved about the restaurant industry that I was going to say, or you're there for the quick cash because
Oh,
I
hell
miss
yeah.
having cash in hand. I never have cash anymore, and that was a good. You need money? Okay, pick up a last minute shift and just you know get a quick 100 and go do what
Oh
you
no,
need to
hey, my
do.
rent's 900. I can pick up 2 shifts and make that. Hey, it'll be fun.
Yeah,
We can do
it's
this.
addicting. It's
I remember
addicting.
those days of like literally
hmm
rent was due in like a week and it was like, holy shit, I have to work at least 5 shifts and hopefully like 3 of them are good so that I
Yeah,
Yes.
can
yeah,
make
and you
rent
never
this.
know. You
Yeah,
never
the
know.
hustle is unparalleled. Like there's nothing like a Friday or Saturday night rush when you're like in the zone. Like you guys know what I'm talking about when you're literally just like going from table to table. You don't even remember anything that's going on. It's like you're in the matrix and all of a sudden it's
hmm
like over and it's like whoosh and it's like silent and you're like what the just happened.
And you die. Like you're on this high, and then it ends, and you're like, I gotta go home and talk to no one,
Yeah.
or have this free beer that I get after
Absolutely.
my shift.
Lexie, to this day, if I come up and Maddie, I'll come up doing what I do now. If I have a long weekend of events, I literally will walk in the door and I might have done a 12, 14-hour day, just like a wedding, 2 weddings back to back, a baptism, 3 weddings and a funeral. And just like, oh, honey, do you want to chat? And I'm like, I am so done peopling. Go away.
Yes. Do not want to
But the
talk.
the shifts went by so fast and like you
hmm
said you could make in 3 hours hundreds of dollars and it was
hmm
so awesome.
hmm
Instant
And
gratification.
yes, and I loved the discounted food.
Oh, God, yeah. Or free.
Brandy
Yes.
and I, we never purchased any food. We always talk about this. We were like so young and so skinny, like because we never ate unless we were working at the restaurant. And then she worked at an Asian restaurant. And we would live off of a box of fried rice for like a week between the two of us. And like we just never had to spend any money on food. It was awesome.
hmm Or even just like when you're working, it's 50% off. And when you're not working, it's 25% off. So people would be like, oh, you probably don't want to go eat there when you're not working. And I'm like, actually, let's go there. I get a
Yeah.
discount.
And you start
Well,
loving
I'm
it.
going to tell you what, the
Yeah.
teens, I have a lot of teenage workers right now. And so, like, if we have a wedding or something like that, literally they have, like, it's for 200 people. If there are leftovers, these 15 and 16-year-olds, they're like, no, go ahead, take a plate home, honey. I'm like,
Yes.
well, how much? I said, oh, grab some pasta salad, grab some chicken Vesuvio. And they're
Yeah,
walking
get
out with
it.
6 takeout containers. Look, I love this job.
That was my
Yes.
favorite part too, is when there was a mess up, it was just up for grabs. They had
Yes.
like the separate window that the mess ups, like the extra food would be sitting in, and I'd walk back there and just like grab some fries and keep walking.
Oh, the vultures descend. You see all the servers
Yes.
running for it, especially if it's
Yeah.
like lobster or steak. Then it looks like vultures coming in on a dead body.
Yep. That's why you got to be friends with the cooks. They let
Yep.
you know. Yeah.
Yeah. And also the skills that the industry has taught me have made me overall way more successful in life because of that like multitasking aspect, the quick thinking quick on your feet, responding to customers in live time. You can't just go back and find an
Mhm.
answer. You are saying and making up for the issue right on the spot.
You do.
Yeah.
You do. Oh, one last question for both of you. Do you both do you like to like cook at home?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I go to a party, and because we're so particular, it's like I can make the crappiest. I can make like a ketchup popsicle look like a culinary masterpiece because we've learned presentation.
Yeah, I feel like Maddie said with the wine glasses, I'm kind of like that with my dishes. Like I have these special bowls that I want to put my soup and pastas in. They're like flatter bowls. I don't know what they're called.
Is that
And
from
when
your Olive
someone will
Garden days?
maybe. And then when someone comes over to my house and grabs a regular bowl to put like soup or something in, I'm just like, what are you doing? That is not right. That doesn't even look good. I am kind of, particular about that now because of, I think it's probably because of my days in that industry.
So you're saying that life is too short to eat off of paper plates, Lexi? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. I mean, essentially, yes.
Okay, okay. I'm totally with you on that. If it's worth cooking, it's worth serving and making it look pretty. We eat with our eyes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well,
And
and
life's too
you're right.
short to eat shitty food or drink shitty wine and like not
It's
enjoy every
true.
second of it.
Agreed.
Exactly. And with the price of groceries now, I don't even know if we save money staying in anymore and cooking at home.
That's so true. I've been out to eat a lot more lately than I have ever before, and I think that has to do with it. I don't like grocery shopping like I used to.
Well, yeah, it's terrible. I'll go out to get ingredients for one meal I'll make at home and it's at least $50. And so I can't help but think to myself that I could have gone out to eat and had someone else make it for me in less than $50.
Maddie and I were joking about this last night when I first got into town, and we were talking about the grocery store. And Joe, he calls Whole Foods because there are certain like little bougie specialty items. I love it, Whole Foods. He goes, "Oh, I can see I went to whole paycheck again. I'll come home with a bag of this big." And he goes, "What did you spend $150 on?" I'm like, "Well, it was caviar was on sale."
It
I
makes you
think
buy
you
things
guys,
you never would.
yeah, you guys called me last night and I told you that I was in a bad mood because I went grocery shopping for one person and spent $200 and I maybe have like two meals and some snacks out of it.
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
Ridiculous. So we had lots of good things to say actually. What about some of the
Yeah.
struggles of the industry?
Minus the sexual harassment and substance abuse, the hours are
Oh,
pretty
that
bad.
never happens. That never
Substance
happens.
abuse was something I didn't write down, but damn, you're right.
The substance abuse issue is a huge issue, and like I've always said this, like if it wasn't for the hours and like that whole issue of being up weird hours of the night, you're working until like 1 a.m., 2 a.m. So naturally you're probably going to have a drink and hang out with people later at night. Then I would definitely like my dream job would be to work in a restaurant or be a chef or work in that industry. But because of some of these things, it's just not worth it. But
I literally remember a sign in a restaurant who shall remain nameless back in the day that had a poster on the bulletin board that said, "Sexual harassment is not a problem in this job. It's a benefit."
wow.
I think you're seeing it less of it now, especially in corporate culture, like if you're in a corporate restaurant culture. But absolutely, it still exists. And yes, you come home from work, your mind is racing. You get up at 2 o'clock in the morning, and like normal people are in bed, and we're just coming off of a high after working 12 hours, a natural high. and it's like your mind is still racing because you've been on stage all night, been making everyone else happy, and it's like, oh my God, I can relax now. It's my turn. And it is. It's hard to come down from that. So substance abuse, sadly, does run rampant.
Yeah, a lot of blood.
And I still see that. I absolutely still see that.
I remember one time at one of my restaurants I worked at, a little baggie got found, and it was just like
of like cocaine.
Yes, a manager was like, "Whose is this?" And like basically everyone started checking their pockets, like seeing if it like it was seriously like
because that many people like thought it might have been theirs.
Yeah, they were like, "Oh, I had some on me."
Crazy.
Yeah, it's terrible.
I don't know if I can say this on the podcast, but one of my experiences, one of the locations I ran in Washington, D.C. was at Reagan National Airport at Terminal C, Legal Secrets. I can mention the restaurant, but I will never mention the employees. I was just a lowly assistant manager at that point. And I walked in to the beer keg. We had to change keg. Sam Adams ran out, of course. And they were doing an 8-ball of Coke in the beer cooler.
Mom, what's an 8-ball of Coke?
I don't know. I've never done it, but it was like a big amount of Coke. It was just like a big amount of Coke. Okay, they just called it an 8-ball.
You're not wrong. It is a big amount. Yeah.
Just a big amount of Coke. And they were doing it on the beer kegs, and they were back in the beer cooler. And I'm like, you gotta realize, there's drug dogs all over this airport. Yeah. It's the nation's capital. Risky.
I think people deserve to know what's happening in their nation's capital airport.
Yeah. But also going back to would you say the harassment? I remember I had a really jealous boyfriend when I first started serving, and he came and visited me once while I was serving. And he got so jealous at how nice I was being to all my tables. Yeah, it was ridiculous.
It
was ridiculous. And then I was telling it to one of our mutual friends, and they're like, well, duh, serving is basically prostitution with your clothes on. And I was like, well, wait a minute.
That is brilliant, Lexie. I'm going to use
I was like,
that
don't
one.
tell him that. I'll have to quit.
When I was 18 and 19 years old, there were 40-year-old men working in the restaurant who would buy us alcohol, give us alcohol. Looking back, it is so horrible.
Inappropriate.
I would never allow my daughter to work in the restaurant industry at that age because it was so bad.
Yeah.
Like the things they would say and the things that we would just allow to happen because of they were going to go buy us a bottle of alcohol or something,
Mm-hmm.
or.
Yeah. We got really deep with this. I was expecting to hit like, oh, requesting holidays off sucks. It was really hard to get a shift picked up. Yeah. Staffing, like stuff like that. And we went straight to sexual harassment.
Oh, we went right down the rabbit hole, girls. We went right.
Sexual harassment.
Sex, drugs, and rock and roll. Both of you ladies have been out of the business for a little while. I will say the culture is getting better. I will say that because I am still in the industry. It is not perfect by any means, but it is significantly improved. So please have hope in that it's still not the same shit show that it was probably when you ladies both started in yours. It still goes on, and it depends, but
yes,
I think it is getting better. It is getting better.
Not the free-for-all that it was back in the late 2000s or mid 2000s.
Yeah.
Oh, honey, I started in the 80s and 90s. Ooh, it's come a long way, baby.
I can only imagine. And every job I feel like is getting more and more compliant. So I can imagine that is as well. And all in all, those are really good memories I have working in the restaurant industry. So I hope that, because I hope people have really good experiences doing it.
It is. My last two things, the struggles about the restaurant business, being a professional too, adult daycare. I'm sick of doing adult daycare as manager. And number two, having to say no to my kids so much, not being able to come home on the weekends to make it to their soccer games, because obviously we're like 3-hour difference, and I was working in the Chicago area. You miss out. The restaurant owns you. You don't own the restaurant. The sacrifices for your family is kind of where I'm going.
Yeah.
With it overall. And the higher up you go up the food chain in the restaurant business, the further you get away from the people and the things that love that drew you in the first place. Those would be my like biggest gripes or bitches.
Mm-hmm. I would get so stressed out when it came to holidays and things like that, requesting off. And, like when your family wants to do things, the majority of the time it's because the rest of the population wants to do things as well. And doing things usually involves going out to eat. So it really gets in the way of life.
Yeah.
Best quote of the day by my friend Laura Schwartz. I'm going to give her a shout out. She posted something, and this was like spot on with that. You don't scare me. I'm not afraid to go into hell. I worked Mother's Day brunch.
I've worked brunch.
I've worked Mother's Day brunch. You don't scare
mimosas,
me.
bloodies, and mules. And it doesn't get much worse than that.
So speaking of some of the worst things, obviously we said we liked serving customers, but there's also some people that tend to make it pretty terrible. Let's talk about this.
There's always a pretentious customer that just doesn't want to recognize that we're all humans as well. And that's one of the worst customers you can have, hands down.
Yeah, they like know they're in control in this situation, and like they just
I would take a bad tip with someone that's nice rather than a glorious tip of someone that's rude as hell. Any day.
Yes. It's like
they're looking like Arrow from Twilight off the balcony. Here you go, little people. Oh my God, this is for you.
Yes.
Yes, you peasants.
You peasants.
Exactly.
You peasants.
I don't know. I've had I remember at one of my past jobs, we had this regular that would come in all the time. And we referred to him because by the beer he would always order. It was a canned beer, and I can't remember what it was, but we'd be like, oh God, so-and-so's here.
Was it like an old one? Like a Schlitz or a Hams or?
It was Hams, I think. And he would come in and he would, usually the host is supposed to seat you, right? He would tell the host, he would look at all the servers and point at which one he wanted to sit in their section. And a few times I was so lucky to be able to serve him. And one time when I was serving him, I was dropping off their drinks, and he brought his kid, and his kid goes, my daddy thinks you're really pretty. And I didn't know what to say. And at that time I was 20 maybe. And he was older, and I was so disgusted, and I told the host if they ever, I don't care if he asked for me, like never seen him in my section again. And there's definitely people like that where, again, I don't care how well you tip, if you make me feel uncomfortable, I don't want it.
I have that written down too. The men who think it's okay to flirt just because I'm at work, and they feel like they have the control over you in that situation, and it's so fucked up.
It's so messed up.
Maddie, I think I told you this about this one. When I was a new bartender, and a lady yelled at me in Washington, D.C. And she goes, Miss, there is entirely too much iced tea in this Long Island iced tea. Well, anyone who knows what's in a Long Island tea gets it. Because I said, ma'am, with all due respect, in my very Iowa nice
no
voice,
iced tea in that.
I said, there is absolutely not one drop of tea in this. And then we go back into behind the bar and talk shit about her because it's all liquor with a splash of Coke.
Yeah. If you treat servers like shit, you are getting talked about, and the whole restaurant knows that you're a piece of shit.
Oh, we do. We go back and make shit out of you in the kitchen. We absolutely do.
Point at you and know that this is you.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
On the flip side of that, how do you guys feel about the customers that just won't shut up about how they used to be servers, so they get it?
Oh my God.
Oh my God, I used to be a server, and don't worry, honey, like I got you. Like they stack the plates.
They stack the plates, and you're like, oh, thanks for doing that. I used to be a server. I get it.
I work in the industry. I so get it.
My favorite people are, aka least favorite, the ones who come in and be like, and talk about how they know the owner. That's my favorite thing ever.
Like everyone knows the owner. That's why they're the owner. They know everyone.
But the owner will be like, yeah, like when they say that, I don't really. Like, they're definitely overusing it.
As they puff out their chest and they start beating it. I know
anybody who says that actually doesn't know the owner very well.
Yeah. Or they come in and they even name drop like a GM. Oh, so and so working today.
Yes.
No.
Oh, cringe.
Yeah. You
That's
cannot.
a code word for, I think I'm going to get comped or a discount.
Probably. Also, yeah, they're usually very nice. I'll give them that. They're usually very nice, but also you don't have to flex that hard. It's not going to help you guys, just so you know.
Because like I know the owner too, because I work with him every day.
Oh, wouldn't that be a great comeback? Oh, that's awesome. I know the owner too.
Yeah.
Have you ever wanted to say that?
Oh, you do?
Oh my God, what a coincidence. I do too.
Do you guys know how you avoid getting a shitty customer? You be nice to the hosts.
True.
True. Which in the hierarchy of the restaurant, I think everyone needs to be nice to the hosts, because although they're probably making the least amount of money, they control a lot of shit.
Oh, those bitches control everything front of the house. Don't ever piss off the host. She is like the puppet master in like, she's like the godfather.
Everyone
do not
puts
piss off. Oh, and don't piss off your bartender either.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I was just gonna say that everyone puts this false like importance in bartenders, and I mean, yes,
no, the bartenders do that.
Yeah, well, everyone abides by it. Like, yes, the drinks are important, but the bartenders should not have the authority that they have. And I was a bartender, and I felt that, and I was like, who the hell gave me this power? Because I don't understand it. I have to sign all these servers' receipts at the end of the day. Why? I just want them to get me out.
But Lexie, if someone's rude to you as a bartender, and you're busy at the restaurant, bitch, your drinks are going to be made last, and your table's going to be sitting half an hour. So, I'm like,
if you're not a person afraid of karmic repercussions, probably, but I was always very fair.
But Lex, I'm very curious about this because as always a server, never a bartender, there was this power instilled in the bartender and everyone could feel the vibe. And I don't know if the bartenders are the one who imposed this on themselves or not, but there's like this big rule: don't go behind the bar and you can't make your own drink. And there's this air about them, right? And if you've worked in a restaurant, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Like they are better than you.
No, I think that's exactly it. I mean, there is a rule that you can't go behind the bar, and it is possible to overserve someone, or, you know, they do have responsibility. But I think it is just the fact that you can't go behind the bar. You have to wait embarrassingly at the drink well for your drink to get made to take it to your table. Like things like that.
You want to know about another self-important role in front of house? The lead server. And I don't even know if they have the title lead.
No,
I think it's
the
self-imposed.
The closer that's in charge of checking everyone out. The closer. Yes.
They always get the best section. Yeah.
It's always some girl or a gay man who runs the shit out of that restaurant and makes sure all the other servers have their side work done. And I don't think we've even mentioned side work. Lexie, what is side work for those who don't know?
Side work is the work you have to do at the end of your shift to make sure that the person coming in after you is just ready to go. Whether that be rolling silverware, you know, obviously cleaning up your section, or refilling salts and peppers and condiments.
Ketchup bottle.
You know, the salad bar.
Marrying the ketchup.
Don't say that ever again.
Some of those ketchup bottles I think are like 30 years old because they keep remarrying them. As long as the label still looks good, it's been being married for the last 20 years.
I worked at a restaurant where they still used glass ketchup bottles, and they took marrying seriously. Like, you couldn't put new ketchup over old ketchup. You had to marry an old ketchup bottle with an old ketchup bottle and then clean out that empty ketchup bottle and put new ketchup bottle in it. Like, and that was like, I would spend hours after my shift with these goddamn ketchup bottles. And I don't even like ketchup.
Conundrum.
I don't even like ketchup.
I hate ketchup, but I think we all
Yeah.
wait. All three of us hate ketchup, right?
Yeah, I can't stand
Yeah.
ketchup.
That's so weird because that never happens ever.
I love
But
it.
maybe it's because we married them too much.
Maybe that's why. I can still
Oh, and
smell
then
it.
when they're
Like I can
bubbling
smell
up
it on my
from
clothes.
botulism, when they've been married one too many times with the old ketchup to new, and you can start seeing the bubbles and you know you're going to get food poisoning. I think that kind of turned me off on ketchup for life.
Ew. I
It
would go where
happens.
Lexi's.
But I don't.
I would go where you were working, Lexi, because that's like actually like a really responsible way to
Shout out to
marry.
Bex in Cedar Falls. I'd still eat there, even after working there, and that says a lot.
Nice. That
Yeah.
I mean, I would after that story.
May I talk about my three most unfavorite front of the house people? Or no, I'm going to talk about one. The new server that was actually promoted to a manager finally. They worked 20 years as a server, and then I'm going to make a career out of this. And then they get a little power drunk. And then everything, well, you know, I'm a manager now, so I can't hang out and have a drink with you anymore. And they pretend like they're like, you know, like a born again religious fanatic. They're drinking the corporate Kool-Aid. But, you know, I'm a manager now, so we can't do that anymore. And they get very, very power drunk with this much power. Basically, they have a key to do comps and barely anything else. They're like a glorified closing server, basically.
This sounds personal. It sounds like you've had a personal experience.
No. Not only have I had it happen to me, I was that girl when I first got promoted. I was absolutely that bitch when I got promoted. And it's like, well, I've got keys and a badge now. I'm very, very important, you know. Oh, look at you all accomplished. Woo!
It probably takes you getting a step higher from that to realize that that position ain't shit, right?
Yeah, but it's kind of sad and pathetic when it happens for the first time at 50 years old. I was in my late 20s when it happened, just saying. But, you know, when a 50-year-old woman gets power drunk over getting a card that she can swipe and she can sign out servers and can count a cash drawer. And think she's like, you know, king shit now. It's like, oh, okay. And we're all very impressed. You know.
Let's take it to the back.
I love it from the back.
I love my back of the house work.
Let's go through the back door.
I love going through the back door.
Knew it.
I love my back of the house staff. They are the heart of the restaurant. Because if you got a shitty back of the house, you're not in business. If your food sucks, you're not in business.
That's true. But like, do they have to be so sassy and depressed all the time? Like, come on. Like, you guys know exactly what I'm talking about. They get so upset so easily and like throw things.
Such
they
ego.
do. They have
ego.
I feel like
Such
they're
ego.
high strung back there, right? And that's why I choose to be friends with them. So when I'm like, hey, you know, this was wrong. I need this on the fly. They're less likely to hit me with a colander.
Yes, or a frying pan.
Okay, but we've all worked with a chef that's like, well, I went to the Culinary Institute of America in Hyde Park as he's popping an Alfredo, fettuccine Alfredo into a microwave at Olive Garden. I'm too good to be here. And has so much ego. I'm too good for this. But I went to the CIA in Hyde Park. As he's pumping it through a microwave. And we're all very impressed once again.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my God, your culinary talents astound me.
You know the moment when you completely forget to bring in a table's food and it's been like 30 minutes and you're like, where is the food at? And then you're like, oh my gosh, I never rang it in. And that's
we're not perfect either. And that's when you need them on your side.
It's funny because the bus boys, like you would always see them outside smoking cigarettes and you're like, okay, I'm not even going to ask how old you are. And I'm not going to like be around you because I think you're probably like 16.
Right. Well, to finish things off, I have a question for both of you.
Yes.
Do you want to play a game?
Sure.
Yes.
Yes. All right, we're gonna play a weird game, guys.
We'll see how this goes. I wonder if like we're gonna be able to guess. Okay. So
I know mine
basically,
are mine are. I'm interested too. So each person brings 2 dishes, right?
yes.
So we're gonna describe our dishes using vague or exaggerated terms, like a fancy menu. So you guys have worked at fancy restaurants, so maybe you'll be better at this than me. So, like for example, it's a symphony of ground meats on a bun of mystery. What would that be?
A
I'd say like
sloppy Joe?
sloppy Joe.
Yeah. So we're gonna do that.
Okay, I like that. I like that.
Michelle, you're the guest of honor. I nominate you to go first.
Well, I have 2 spectacular dinners in mind this evening. I was kind of thinking about. Hold on, here it is. I'm trying to be inspired. A maritage of peanut paste in a sweet grape reduction on a very soft and delicate brioche bread. Crusts are optional.
Peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
Yes, ma'am.
PBJ.
Hey, that was good. Wow.
Did you like? I used the
Mine
line
are a
term
lot
maritage.
longer. You did a good job. All right, guys. This one might be kind of hard. Okay.
I have to close my eyes because I when I look at you
Yeah,
talking,
you
I
guys
can't hear it.
imagine
Visual.
this.
Visualization.
All right, I'll use like a chef voice. What does a chef sound like? I'll try to be like, I don't know. A delicate fusion of ancient grains, gently coated in velvety consistency, infused with whispers of warm spices and crowned with jewels of nature's finest harvest. A drizzle of golden nectar completes this sublime creation, offering a subtle sweet experience that lingers on the palate with every spoonful. What am I?
Something with honey and
Something with honey. I don't know, but I'll buy it because it sounds really good. I'd order it off menu
A
the way you
delicate
described it.
fusion of ancient grains.
Pasta?
oatmeal.
Yes, it's
Quinoa?
oatmeal. Good job.
Oh my God.
A hand-rolled circle of golden baked perfection, adorned by a sprinkle of exotic seeds, and generously kissed with a velvety spread of cultured dairy, offering a harmonious balance of chew and creaminess.
Macaroni and cheese?
Is it pizza?
No.
A hand-rolled circle
Handle
with a
circle.
sprinkle of exotic seeds, kissed with a velvety spread of dairy.
Nachos?
It's a bagel and cream cheese.
Oh man. You know,
Damn.
maybe because I've been cutting out carbs, that was my mind.
I didn't know what the seeds was. I honestly thought bagel, but what was the seeds?
Like an everything bagel. I've been eating a lot of bagels lately, you guys. It's actually getting out of hand.
Okay,
I love
okay.
it.
Well, the seeds were on the outside. I was like layering it. So I was like bagel, seeds, and then cheese.
Oh,
And that's why I said
okay.
pizza. But that's cool.
Oh, do we have time for one more?
Yes.
One more. Okay. So this is a savory yet sweet medley of ground beef pork mixture in a casing, embellished and delicately dipped in some of the fine stone ground grain in a light batter, then lightly fried and then served with a light tomato reduction, bee juice, or mustard seed reduction.
Is it a corn
On a
dog?
stick.
Yeah. Yes, I'm glad I said that before the stick.
She said
Was it a
corn,
corn
dog.
dog?
She got it.
Yes.
Yes.
Or
I
I,
don't,
would
that
have said,
wasn't as sexy as my peanut butter and jelly, though.
or I would have said like
Pretty
pigs in a
sexy.
blanket to make it really nice and trashy.
Ooh, hell yeah. I thought about that actually.
And by trashy, I mean delicious.
Exactly.
How fabulous.
right. Here I go. A cascade of perfectly formed spirals, cloaked in a molten embrace of velvety richness, where aged elements mingle in decadent harmony. A delicate crunchy crowns this creation, offering a tantalizing contrast that elevates each bite to a symphony of indulgence and texture.
Baked macaroni and cheese. What am I?
It's
No.
macaroni and cheese. You got it.
Oh, that's right.
Wow. Good job.
Good job. Mad
Okay.
Dog, one more.
Mads, you're up.
A handheld fiesta of savory spiced protein encased in a soft casing, topped with vibrant greens, zesty cheese, and a drizzle of citrus cream.
Taco.
Yes. All right, ladies. Well, our time is dwindling.
86, as Michelle would say. Thanks, Michelle, for joining us. You're definitely the person to talk to when it comes to restaurant industry. I want you to leave us on one note. Who was the best celebrity tipper that you've encountered?
Oh wow. Can I name 3 celebrities that
Sure.
I rated on?
Yes.
The Kennedy family in Washington D.C.
Good
Tiger
tippers or bad
Woods.
tippers?
Oh no, Kennedys were great tippers. Tiger Woods was an awesome, consistent 25% when he come in and play the Western Open. Fleetwood Mac tipped very well. And the worst tipper was Scottie Pippen and Vijay Singh. They're both pro athletes, and I don't care if they know that I said it out loud. No
Dang.
tipping
Well,
Pippen.
there you have it.
No
There you
tipping
have it.
Pippen.
That's why we're mad. Well, thanks again to Maddie's mommy for joining us. It was so
Ladies,
much
thanks
fun.
for having me. I'm
And
honored.
thanks for everyone for tuning in. Follow for new episodes every Wednesday on Spotify and Apple Podcasts.
And don't forget to follow us on Instagram and TikTok on Wait You're Mad. And we'll put my mom's wine business link into our episode description this week. So if you want to check that out, feel free. She also runs a food group on Facebook as well, and we'll tag both those things for her.
Food for 5, minus
Get
4
crunk.
pounds.
All
Cheers.
right, bye.